can we start? I mean, born and raised here?
Born in Durham, but grew up here.
Yeah. Okay.
So
I didn't want to get ahead of myself.
Nah, all good.
For a guy that's grew up here, played here, growing up, and now at Wake Forest, can you tell us a little bit how your journey got to here?
Yeah, so my dad got a job at Forsyth Country Club when I was about 7 years old. Mm-hmm. That's when I moved here from Durham. So it was kind of like in my blood to play tennis. My dad played in college, teaches tennis, so I was always going to be a tennis player in some aspect.
Yeah.
I mean, like over the summers, I'd be training here or at the country club where my dad works. So I was always around Wake Forest tennis.
Okay.
Would always come out to the matches. Always, you know, the cliche statement, always wanted to be a D kind of thing. Like it was actually true. Okay. Like my goal was, ever since I was little, was to be able to come play tennis here. I got the opportunity, so I kind of just had to take it. And like I was not at the level I was, like, to be able to play right away, but somehow I was able to progress and make it on here.
That's amazing.
Yeah.
And I've heard through the grapevine and seeing your family here as well, you have other siblings that play tennis too, right?
Yeah, I have 3 other siblings, an older brother, a younger brother, and then a younger sister.
Okay.
My older brother played at Charlotte, who's now in the Army.
Oh, wow.
My younger brother plays at Charlotte as well.
Very nice.
My little sister just committed to play at Greensboro.
Oh, wow, that's amazing.
So, yeah, we're all tennis players. And
I love that. Were you guys always competing?
Oh, yeah. Really? I mean, in everything that me and my brothers ever did, like whatever sport it was, basketball, football, anything, it was a competition. I always had to be better than my older brother, and I could never let my younger brother be better than me. Like, in everything that we did.
Do you think that made you a better athlete overall?
100%. 100%. Like having like the competitive like fire, like at such a young age, it just kind of prepared me for like everything that was to come when it came to like junior tennis and competing at like a high level. And then ultimately like sticking with just tennis, like I was better from it for sure.
I love that. And because your dad is kind of still your coach at the moment, correct?
He is. I talk to him on a daily basis about stuff over the summers or over winter break. I'm working with him. Even during the year, sometimes I'll like get his input about certain things. So it's very nice to be able to have him around and close to be able to have conversations, whatever I need.
Absolutely. And for all of you and your siblings, what's the one thing he teaches all 3 of you?
From the very beginning, it was technique. Okay. He was dead set on, you know, having the proper technique from a very young age, because he felt like if you got that down very young, that you were able to, you know, figure out everything else. So like the main thing from when I was little was technique. Okay. Having the correct technique, the correct grips. So when you came to college, you didn't have to change anything. Okay. You could just start playing and just, you know, get into as many matches as you possibly could without having to worry about in practice. Okay, maybe now you got to switch up the backhand. Now you got to switch up the swing on the forehand or the serve. Like that was from a very early age. That was what we focused on. And is that something? Well, was that the biggest takeaway from your dad as your coach, or what's the biggest lesson that you think you've learned from your dad? Hard work beats talent. Really? That one. My dad started playing tennis when he was 16 years old, and from the amount of work that he put in, from just 16 to maybe almost 19, he was able to go play at college. And so like what who's been said, just, you know, the hard work pays off more in the end. That by far is the most important thing that I've learned from him. And do you take that into your game now, I'm assuming? Now, absolutely. I mean, you know, you stuck in your little bubble in junior tennis, you think you're a decent tennis player, you come play college tennis in a top 10 program in the entire country, you're not. You know, you're little fish. Yeah. And and kind of in that aspect too, was there like a point where there was like not like you hitting a sign, but the idea of like, you're here at college tennis, was there a moment of like you understanding, okay, this is what college tennis is? Was there a moment that made you realize that, going from junior to college? Yeah, definitely my freshman year. It would have been different because I took a gap year after my senior year of high school. Okay. And so I had another year to like get older, more mature and stuff like that. I feel like if I would have gone straight into college, it would have been a little worse. Really? How come? I was very young. I had just turned 18 after my senior year of high school. Okay. So I was very young. I felt like my birthday's in May, so like 2 months later I would have been in college.
You're on the cusp of
I was
between grades.
I was in that weird age range. And then my older brother took a gap year, and so we ultimately decided that would have been best for me. One being like just being able to play more tennis. To prepare for college, and two, get some college credits at a community college. And so I had 15 coming into college.
Oh, wow.
So it made it really light in terms of like what I was taking throughout the year. So that was nice.
For you too, it seems like you have a good head on your shoulders, and now being a captain with Mel on this team, what's it like being a captain of a top 15 program in the country?
If you would have told me 4 years ago that I would have been the captain of this team, I would probably laughed at you. I mean, just for the sheer fact that like this was my dream ever since I was little, and like for it to become reality, it's very humbling. Like that was probably like the best thing to have ever happened to me from being on this team, was like having the votes from all the guys on the team to like vote me as captain. Like it was an amazing experience for myself.
And what was and for you too, that learning curve of becoming not just a player, but a leader and role model for these guys. What was the most frustrating thing about being kind of that head guy with Mel?
Most frustrating?
Yeah, what was the most challenging thing to understand that you're the leader now?
I think it's mostly like people see what you do. Okay. And they, like you're just a part of the team or something like that. Like you can get away with some stuff, but like being a captain and like being a leader of this team, like you almost have to be on top of it every single day. Okay. Like of course you want to be like in practice, doing the best you can every single day, but like it's different whenever you're like one of those guys. If people look up to you, like even if you don't think that they do, like people notice that stuff. Yeah. And so I wouldn't say it's frustrating, but it was definitely another learning curve for sure. Like, you got to bring it. Yeah. Because you're not just leading yourself anymore. You're leading 12 other guys. And so it's much different for sure. Yeah.
And that seems to be a common theme, because I asked Mel this same question, and what do you guys do together to lead this team to the best that it can? And how would you describe your relationship with Mel, and how do you work together to lead these guys?
Mel and I personally think have a great relationship.
He does too. Don't worry. It's okay. He does too.
Good. We have those tough conversations. If something goes wrong on the team, like some guys maybe not doing exactly what he should be doing, or even like in terms of like what kind of practices we're having or stuff like that, we like to have those tough conversations. Like, don't enjoy it, obviously, but like, of course, it needs to be done. Yeah. And so it's definitely like one of those situations where I feel like, we have the conversations, and then we'll pull whoever it is, or even come to the coaches or whatever, and talk about it. Because it needs to be done for sure. Like if you want to be the best that you possibly can, you have to have those tough conversations.
Absolutely. And do you think did it take you a while to understand having a tough conversation was a part of kind of your job as a leader? Yeah, because you want to, you see these captains or stuff like that, you see all the good stuff that goes along with it. Yeah. You don't see the nitty gritty. I wouldn't say bad stuff, because it's not necessarily behind the
bad.
Scenes of what gets you to that place.
Yeah. It's you don't see that, and so like when you're finally a part of it, it's like, oh, now it's up to you. And you can prepare for it as much as you can, but unless you're like thrown into that fire, I feel like you got to get through it.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah. And I think that's the hardest part too, being a captain and being a leader. I feel like not a lot of people understand what you go through on a daily basis in your shoes.
Yeah, I mean, to be honest, like I'm just blessed to be able to do it. Yeah. Like it's tough for sure, but I wouldn't have it any other way.
Absolutely. Yeah. And kind of speaking about your coaches too, going to Tony and Chris, what's one thing that you've learned from both of them being here at Wake Forest?
Bresky's big on the mental toughness part. Okay. And he was on me very quickly from when I first stepped in here. Okay. Like, you don't have to be playing your best tennis to win, which I knew, but you don't actually know until you get somebody else to tell you. Because I've had my dad as my coach my entire life. So it's pretty funny when you get somebody else saying the same things that he does.
Because you listen more. I will say that. When it's someone that you don't spend your entire day with, and then you have an outside coach tell you, it's something little that just, okay, now I need to do it.
Yeah, so Bresky's big on the mental toughness for sure. With Eats, he's just all about, playing your game and, if you're down and out, like, just continue with it. Like, it's going to come. Like, you're obviously at a level. You're here for a reason. Trust it.
Yeah.
He lets you play free. And so that's why I love working with him. Like, him and I have had a very good relationship ever since I first got in here. So it's very easy to work with him and listen to what he has to say and, retain the information that he gives you.
I like that. And this is kind of an out there question, but since we're recording in Tony's office and you see all this memorabilia around and you see all these trophies, all these awards, do you ever feel there's a need to fill the shoes of that one team, or is there a pressure that kind of comes along with being a Deacon? Yeah,
but it's pressure that I feel like we put on ourselves.
Okay.
Not this, like, of course, like, from the outside perspective, like, Wake Forest was the greatest program in 2018 history, like won everything that year. Like, yes, there's pressure for sure. The coaches don't put it on us. Like, they want us to succeed and stuff like that, but, like, that comes from us, I feel like. Like, some of these guys haven't spent the time with those guys that were on this team, but some of us have. Like, I've been around, like, Borna, Skander, and, like, I've spent some time with them, and obviously Mel has because he was on the team after that. And so, like, we have a conversation, like, at the beginning of the year, like these are our goals. This is what we're trying to replicate, and it's ultimately up to us. Like, we have to be realistic, of course, but, like, we want to be that team again.
Absolutely.
Absolutely. Yeah.
What kind of goals do you set at the beginning of the year? Is it more personal goals or is it team goals?
So we do like a write-up of what our, I guess, goals for the team, goals for ourselves, and, like, something that we just want to work on. Okay. So, like, I'll give you an example of, like, me personally, like, things that I wanted to work on. Like, I wanted to work on my returning. Okay. So I told them from the beginning of the year that was something I wanted to work on. Like, kind of like a 3-month goal or something like that was to be able to be, like, solidified in the lineup for singles, because I've been for doubles. And so, and then obviously for the team goals, it's to win ACCs, regular season, win indoors, and obviously win the national championship at the end of the year. Yeah. Like, those are from day one, those are the goals that are told to us and that we've set for ourselves. For what's to come.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah. And that's interesting to see, because I feel like a lot of some people like looking into the future and kind of setting that pathway for themselves, and some of them say, I just take it one day at a time. Yeah. Which one do you prefer?
Kind of a little bit of both, like, just in terms of like the major goals with those championships and stuff like that. Like, you have to have those goals set early on, because that's ultimately what you're playing for. Yeah. Like, I personally, if I'm not competing for those kind of titles or something like that, like, it doesn't really make too much sense to me. Okay. Because, like I've always had this thing, like, if you're going to do something, you might as well be the best at it. Okay. And so, like, I've always wanted to reach those goals. But also, like, taking it day by day is also extremely important. Like, in practice, you're looking for that 1% every day. That's what my dad always told me. And so as long as you get, like, that 1% better, like, taking it day by day, like, it's going to add up in the end. Yeah.
And I think my last question for you is, so thank you again for doing this. I appreciate it. You on the court, how would you describe yourself to me? If I didn't watch you play before this weekend, how would you describe your game to me?
Aggressive, but, like, I like to use all kinds of, like, skills on the court. Okay. Like, use the slice, come in, use the volleys, use my serve, like, when it's on. Sometimes it's not, but that's okay.
That's a different story.
Yeah. Get as many forehands as I can. Okay. And just take control of the point early. Awesome. Like, stay on the baseline. Like, just put pressure on the guy. Okay. Yeah, just attack, come forwards, use my hands, try to finish the ball at the net. Just be a beast. Yeah.
That's a great quote.
Try to be a beast, yeah.
That's a great quote. Yeah. I love that. Well, thank you again for doing this, man.
Absolutely.
I appreciate it.